Okay, hi there Facebook, it's Kamal here. I should have brought my laptop in, I should have been more organised, but never mind. So, welcome to this session. As I said, we're going to do another session with Hudson. We're going to do a session in the house, because there's so many things that you can do and so many skills that you can teach that don't require one, a vast amount of space, two, these are the foundation layers for your dog in the big wide world, and built on what we looked at the other day with Hudson. So I'm going to just see if anybody joins. Just bear with me whilst I good, and hopefully, let's have a look. There we go. I'll just see if anybody's joined. If you could just give me a thumbs up to let me know that you can hear me okay. And now I'm going to talk through what we're going to work on. So, a couple of people said, oh, here's my laptop. I knew I was organised. Didn't have it organised enough to open it, but that's a good start. At least I have it in the same room. Right, let's have a quick look. So make sure that we are... Oh. One second. Good boy. Okay. Excellent. Oh, good. So just let me know that you can hear me okay. Okay, cool. A couple of people join us. Okay, I think we should be okay. Alrighty. I think we're okay. We'll make a start. So, welcome everybody. As I said, today's session we're going to be looking at building on foundation layers. Oh, excellent. Thank you very much. I'm going to just swipe those. So, we looked at using sit and down as behaviours to get more stability and control. Because a lot of the underlying cause for concern is, see, Bonnie bought a squeaky, which is great.
You said bring a toy.
Yeah, he loves. Yeah, I did, so I should have just had a disclaimer. Anything but a squeaky. Anyway, so the legs in the corner are actually, I'm going to just, Nathan, Bonnie's husband, who's here to just spectate. So, today's session, as I said, is going to be building on the dog having a better understanding of those core behaviours. So, with our dogs that have reactivity challenges, we want to have three go-to behaviours: sit, down, and a recall. We want to train them so thoroughly that they can get us out of the vast majority of situations. Is that going to solely prevent your dog being reactive? Absolutely not. But it's going to help alleviate the underlying current that definitely affects your dog's confidence and your confidence. So if, for example, you see another dog in the distance, if you can reliably call your dog back to you and know that it's going to respond to you 100% of the time, then that's going to alleviate some of the anxiety that you'll feel taking your dog out in the big wide world. Additionally, if you can ask your dog to sit or down, or stand if your dog has any physical reason why it can't do the previous two behaviours, i.e. stay in one place. If your dog has those behaviours really thoroughly trained, that again is going to help remove some of that anxiety you may feel when taking your dog out in the big wide world and you see another dog. If I can say to my dog, sit down, and they hold that position, and more importantly, they want to, he said he saw that one, he's not stupid. If they want to do that behaviour and they really enjoy that behaviour, not only will that help you alleviate or avoid a situation escalating, additionally to that, it will actually create a feel-good factor. So the dog has had so much reinforcement history for that behaviour. Look how handsome he is. The dog has so much reinforcement history for that behaviour, that in itself is going to alleviate some of the tension in the situation and therefore avoid the dog feeling anxious. So we're going to first evaluate how well Hudson understands those behaviours, and we're going to present some little challenges for him and seeing what he understands. The premise being is that if we don't have that understanding in an environment which we can control, i.e. my living room, normally, obviously, you know, for the purpose of this live, I've asked Bonnie to come to my home to start this session, or to do this session. Ideally, you would start this in an environment with minimal distractions that your dog is comfortable and confident in, and with sufficient space that you can work in. You don't need a vast amount of space to start these exercises off, but it's certainly important that you build that level of understanding, and then to progress them, you change the location to somewhere in your home. So, for example, you'd start with your dog in... Oh, this is still touching my bum. You'd start with your dog first and foremost, say, in your living room, then you take it into your garden, then you take it to the front of the house, and gradually build the dog's understanding, okay? So, first thing we're going to do is evaluate how well Hudson understands the sit behaviour. So we saw him do the sit the other day, and there was moments where he was reluctant. So the first thing we're going to do is go back and top that up to make sure he understands the sit. And we're going to evaluate, does he understand that behaviour on the cue, the verbal cue or the physical cue, and we're going to decide which one he understands. Now, ideally, we would want our dog to understand the behaviour on a verbal cue, because obviously there might be situations where the dog is either not in your sight, or it might be at a distance and they may not be able to see you, or sorry, I should say obscured from vision. However, it's worth also teaching a physical cue if you're concerned about your dog doing the behaviour at a distance, okay? So either or, as long as you are consistent with what you ask of your dog. So, we're going to play a game called Simon Says, where I'm going to give various body language positions to put itself in and ask a dog to sit. Very, very simple. And we're going to test how well he understands the behaviour. So, if we're just squeaky toy, you can use this for this. So, it's up on your feet, Bonnie. Okay? So I will talk you through this. Hopefully you can see. So, first thing, you can use food as well. Okay. Oh, let me just move. All ADD, we're all getting a bit older. Okay, so I'm going to move a little bit out here. Let Bonnie do this first. Hopefully you can see her. So the first thing is just engage him and have a little bit of play with him. Good. You can have a little bit of game. So if you can have him so he's not in the sit to start with, so get him moving a little bit. Good. And then just take the toy off him. Move this way a little bit. And just have your hands on your heads and ask to sit.
Oh, hands on head.
Sit. Reward's fine. He did it.
Sit.
Good. Reward him. Good. Yeah. Good again. Reward him. You can give me his ball.
You're not going to want that, are you?
Sit. And again. Oh, so do that again. So hands on head. Ask him to sit.
Ready?
Bring him back.
Sit.
Okay. Good. So we've got a little bit of pause there. So we're going to just wait him out. See if he makes that decision. So if he good. Reward him. Good. So we've got a really slow response. Good. But we want that to start off. We want the dog to first understand.
Sit.
Reward. Good.
Good boy.
Okay. So next one, I want you to do hands on shoulders. Okay. Boy, take it off. You can switch it for food.
Sit.
And reward.
Good boy.
So excellent. So be mindful. First off, Bonnie, just take the ball off him for a second. Be mindful of the word that you're using to mark the behaviour. You're saying good boy and releasing him. So personally, I wouldn't use good boy.
Do you know that's a me being nervous being on camera. I never say that. I say yes.
Okay.
Don't know where that came from.
Okay, good. Okay. So just all those little things, we want to be consistent with what we ask of our dog. So let's do it again. So move him around a little bit. You can get him moving good. And you can move him around, like you can either throw a tidbit this way if you've got one. Have you got a treat on you?
Sit.
And reward.
Yes.
Throw it this way. Perfect. That's okay. So you just get him moving a little bit more. Good. Sit good. And if you then on the next one take the ball off him and just throw a treat this way, and as he comes back to you, put your hands on your hips and ask him to sit. Okay. Throw. Get it.
Get it.
He says, no, I don't want that.
You're not going to take a treat out of the toy, would it? Oh.
Good. Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, we'll talk about it in a second. So ask him to sit.
Sit.
And reward.
Yes.
Good. Good. Excellent. Good. And again. Good. So all nice and successful at the moment. So we're going to do another repetition of that. Hands on hips. Okay. Oh, hang on. There you go, Pup. There you go. Good boy. Hold on.
Okay.
Good. Pull it back.
I'm taking it off him first.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so hands on hips.
Sit.
And reward.
Yes.
Good. Nice. Good. Okay. So, take the ball off him. Good. Now we're going to do one more, and you're going to do hands. Move him around a little bit, so he's not just guessing. Good. Hands on knees, and ask him to sit.
Sit.
Reward.
Yes.
Good.
Boy.
Excellent. And again. Good. Call him back. Okay. Good.
This is the trouble with the ball.
Good. Okay. Hands on knees.
Ready? Sit.
Oh, okay. So now we've got our first failure, okay? So at this point, failure is not a problem. People get really adverse to their dog failing. So we're going to just make light of it. Just break him off, tease him. Aha, you didn't get the ball in. And try again. Don't let him have it. And hands on knees.
Sit.
Reward. Good boy. Super, okay? Great. Great recovery from Hudson. Nicely handled by Bonnie. So we're going to do another repetition of that one.
Oh, drop. Thank you.
Good.
Go move first. Go move first. Go
And
boy.
hands on knees. Reward.
Yes.
Good. Super.
Good.
Excellent. Good. Ball it back. Okay, and this time you're going to go for a hard one. Hands on toes.
Hands
Okay?
on toes. Okay.
Good.
Ready? Sit.
Oh, okay, so we got the miss. Okay, break him off. Let's do it again.
Sit.
Oh, we've got two failures, okay? One more. One more try.
Sit.
Let me think about it.
Yes.
Reward. Good boy. Super.
Okay.
Okay, so we got two failures. We're going to go back and make it slightly easier. Hands on knees.
Ooh, lost my dog. Ha. That's got really slimy. Drop.
Good boy. Good. Good.
Get
Okay,
ready.
break him off. Hands on knees.
Sit. Yes.
Reward.
Good boy.
Make sure he's completely in that state because he's slightly hovering.
Oh,
That's okay. And again, good boy, baby.
You are bad for that, weren't you? That or one foot. One front foot.
And hands on toes. Oh yeah, go on. That's okay. Reward.
Yes.
Good. So make sure, the other thing is, make sure that you, another little nuance of mechanics and timing, make sure you say yes first, pause, and then throw. Okay?
Ready?
Hands on toes.
6.
Miss. Try again.
Oh, you got it.
Good.
Boy, ready? 6.
Miss. 2. Okay.
That's cheating because now you're starting at the same. Ready? Ready? 6.
Okay, so we've got 3 failures. Okay, not a problem. So this is all just information to us. Okay, the big thing that we are noticing is that the dog is what is essentially influencing his body language?
It's me that going
Body
down.
language,
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, what is influencing his behaviour? His body language.
Yeah.
Okay, the dog is learning that, or he's learned that your hands low to the ground indicates to him that you're going into down. So he's not doing anything wrong. Okay, what he's telling us is that currently his understanding of the verbal cue sit is somewhat limited and influenced by your body. Okay, so if we said to us potatoes and put our hand on her head, he'd probably go into a sit. Okay, so let's just test it out to see what he knows. So I want you to say pick a fruit and put your hands on your head and see what he does. Okay, we move him around.
Ready? 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 Carrots.
Reward, good. Okay,
Yes.
reward, good. Okay, so the dog is now very clearly following our body language, and often, just don't fall for a second. Often what happens when our dogs are out in the big wide world and we ask them to do that behaviour sit, well, actually what they tell us is, actually, I don't have a thorough understanding. Now think of that if you then challenge the dog with a change of environment. So there's more distraction, there's smells, there's sights, there's sounds, and there just happens to be another dog or somebody on a bike or a kid playing football. Now we've jacked up the level of distraction and the dog didn't really truly understand the verbal cue. So the goal of this is to find out what our dog knows. Now, we're going to go back and we're going to actually work him through and we're going to explain to him that when we say sit, irrespective of our body language, it means to adopt the sit position. So we've currently worked out that Hudson's good at hands on hips, he's good on hands on knees. I think he only had a couple of failures, but the one that he struggled with is hands on toes. So we're going to go to a halfway point, we're going to try hands on shins and see if he can do it there. Okay, if he does that, go ballistic and we'll stop and we're going to move on. Alright?
Okay.
Good, give it a go.
Ready?
Move out the way.
Ready? That's okay, that's okay, just come on moving. That's okay, ready?
Hands on shins.
6.
Okay, 1 failure, try again.
Let's have another go. Let's try again. 6.
Let me think. Reward.
Yes,
Good. Good, excellent, really good, perfect.
Good
So,
boy, yes.
nice recovery on Hudson's part, really nicely handled. So now what we've done is we've just pushed him out of his current comfort zone, we've extended his understanding. So now we're beginning the path of the dog really understanding. When you say sit, it doesn't matter what you're doing, he's got to do it, okay? Now, the other variation we're going to do is we're going to try, I want you don't have masses of space in here, that's not a problem, is I want you to just walk him forward as if he's doing like loosely walking. I want you to say sit and I want you to keep moving. Okay?
Am I allowed to put my hand? This is what I do with him. But
Okay.
currently, he'll only do it if I've still got my hand up as I say it.
Okay, that's what he knows. Yeah, try that, okay?
Yeah.
Go on, have a go, let me have a look at it.
Yeah, let's go.
Move around,
Okay, that's it.
and when he's
Sit.
in motion, very nice. Reward, good, excellent, reward,
Yes.
good, excellent.
Good, good
Super,
boy.
good. So let's now do this one, okay? I want you to have his collar, just roll the ball on the ground, okay? When it stops dead, send him to get the ball.
Okay.
Just do that.
Without asking him to do
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, just get it. Say get it. I'll just stop it for you.
Get
it. Good. And roll it back. Good. Do that one again. Roll the ball.
Too much fluff.
Get it.
Get it.
Reward. Good. Roll it back. Okay, so if you can roll it a little bit further, and what I want you to do is release him, and as he's on the way to the ball, tell him to sit. Let's see what happens. Good. Hang on there. Okay, tell him.
Get it. Sit.
Good, that's okay, good boy. Okay, so we found another place we can make him have a little better level of understanding. So we found that when the distraction is in motion or the temptation of the ball there, he can't understand that sit cue. Okay, so that's again another thing that if you, for example, are out in the big wide world and you see another dog in the distance and he makes that choice to head towards them, that is essentially the same challenge. I'm distracted by the thing in front of me. I can no longer listen to your words. In this instance, is the ball. And if the dog doesn't have the understanding of the ball, he's going to never have it in for the dog. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to explain to him. So what you're going to do is rather than having him move towards the ball, you're going to have him just loosely follow the ball as you're luring him. Keep the ball in motion. And as he's in motion, ask him to sit. Okay. If he does it, you can mark and reward him. Okay.
Okay.
So move the ball just about, that's it. Let him move after it, and sit. Oh, you heard.
Yeah, you heard it, didn't he?
Try again.
Sit.
Good. Okay, so that's 2 failures. That's okay.
Sit.
Okay, so what you're going to do now is you're going to now, so whenever we have, yeah, that's okay. So now whenever we have a sign where we found somewhere the dog isn't super clear on, we're going to now make the movement slightly less challenging. So we can't cope with that. We're going to just see, okay, let's see if we can just do that and sit. Does that make sense? Okay. And now?
I have to have it now. It doesn't work. You're taking my strength now, aren't you? Wait. Okay.
So wait for a tidbit. Good. Nice.
Sit.
Good. So just keep it still. Ask him now.
Sit.
Release. Get
yes.
it. Good.
Boy,
Good.
yeah.
So we're going to break the... He's that tidbit out for you. So again, do another one. Just ball in front of his face. Good.
Sit.
The ward, you
Yes.
get it. Good. Super. Okay.
Boy.
So now you're going to have him place the ball on the floor. Okay. And just put one finger in his collar. Place the ball on the floor. Okay. And then see if you can do it. It doesn't matter what position. So you're going to try and get him in a stand. So walk him slightly forward. Good. That's it. Good. Doesn't matter. Just pop it out. Pop it out in front of you. Good. And then let's take your hand out the collar. Ask him to sit.
Sit.
Good. So he says, I can't possibly because the ball's in front of me. Good boy. So just edge him backwards. Just guide him backwards. Good. Good. And then ask him again.
Sit.
Release. Get it.
Yes,
Good.
good boy.
Good boy. Well done.
Good boy.
Super, super, super. All right. So that's it. Let's pause for a second. You can give him a break for a second. So we've now started to evaluate what he understands as the cue sit. We've done it with body language and we've done it with motion. So what he showed us is that the distractions in front of his face, he struggles to hear the word, which is typical of how dogs learn. And the reason, the reason he's struggling with it in motion is because he's a little bit more like, oh, I want my ball. So his arousal level has come up. In this environment, obviously, his arousal level, if we were to talk about it from 0 to 100, is probably about a 3. It maybe a little bit more with a shepherd, maybe a 10 out of 100, right? But it would be very, very, very minimal, okay? Now, if we think of the comparison to another dog's going to be 150.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is teach him that when you say those words, not only does he have to do it, despite the distraction, but he wants to do it because the reward is available when he listens to your words. Does that make sense? So we've found 2 ways to make his understanding stronger. One is to expand his knowledge of body language. 2 is to expand his ability to think when he's the toy or the thing is in motion. So you can play around with this premise with your own dogs. You can use a ball, you can use a toy, you can use food. Yeah, so you can also put food in a bowl. He's not massively into food. If you had a food motivated dog, you could place a bowl on the floor and use the same premise. And obviously if the dog goes for the food, you block the food, not block the dog, okay? So, good boy. So you can start the dog understanding and giving him more depth of knowledge, okay? So, the other thing we're going to do is we're going to work on him doing a recall away from a distraction. Have you done that, where you can place the ball and call him back to you for a hand touch or a middle?
Yeah, I have done it at home.
Okay.
Not with probably something quite as high value as this ball.
Okay.
This is normally with this tuggy.
Okay, let's try it with the ball. So you're going to do the same thing again. You're going to pop the ball on the carpet, ask him to do a hand touch, a middle, anything, and then he can release to the ball. Okay?
Good boy.
And I've got that. I'll move out your way.
Wait.
So there, ball's there.
So can I ask if I put down and then send him, or do you want me to do a moving thing?
So it's up to you. Do whichever one. So you shut it down.
Hudson, down.
It says the ball's there. Oh, one bang. So can you do? Let's make it simpler. Can you do a hand touch? Or a middle?
He doesn't. He's absolutely holding it. Touch. It's the lightest. That's literally what you get from the
Can
hand.
you do a middle?
Middle, he knows.
Okay,
yes.
show me middle then.
Yeah. Hudson, go middle.
And reward him.
Yes.
Good. You can give him the ball. Good.
Good boy. Stay.
Okay, so pop your ball out. So what you're going to do is you're going to actually face the mirror, ask him to the middle, and then send him to get the ball. Okay, good. So that's it. So
Hudson, middle.
boy. So I've blocked it. Okay, so use for a P. Put it out again. So I'll help you, and I'll block him getting the ball. So if you have a second person, it's handy, but if not, you just got to manage the dog's behaviour a little bit, okay? So, does the middle.
Hudson, middle.
Good boy. Okay, I'm your guarder. Okay. Good. So, good.
Wait.
Pop it out. Ask the middle. You can help him.
Middle. Hudson.
Help him.
Yeah.
And release.
Yes.
Get it. Yes.
Good.
Super. Well done, baby. And again, another one. Good. Good.
God, I wish I had a better pitch this week.
Good. Good.
Right there.
Good. Pop it out. There's
Right
the
there.
distraction. So now I want you to just, yes, keep the facing that way. Do another rep of that.
Hudson, middle. Middle.
Good try.
This way.
So repeat. Don't. That's it. Start again.
Start.
Good. Good.
Start again. Come on then, this way. That's it.
Good.
Right there. Good boy. Right.
So ask for your middle behaviour.
Ready? Hudson, middle.
Release. Get it.
Good.
Good. Super. Excellent. Good.
Relax.
Okay. One more rep of that, and then we're going to up the ante a little bit.
That's it. Wait. Wait. Hudson, middle.
Help him and win a bit. Win a bit.
This way.
Re-cue.
Hudson, middle.
Release.
Yes,
get it.
get it.
Good
Good
boy.
boy.
Good.
Good
Good. Okay. Good. So you can do the same thing now. Now what you're going to do is face the same direction of the ball, but I want him to come offset the dog slightly. So put him, if you were facing 12 o'clock, he would be at sort of, that 3 o'clock, and I want you to come into your legs and then go forward. Okay?
So, right, so
Yep.
he's like there
There,
to go.
perfect.
Okay, sit.
Release. Good.
Sit. Stay.
Good. Good. And middle.
Hudson, go middle.
Good.
That was interesting because he stops. Like, I don't know if
Yeah.
I've done the right thing there.
Yeah. And also because he realises I blocked the ball. So go back again. So again, if you have somebody that you can train him with, you can do this again. If you're training this on your own, what I would suggest is raise the toy off the ground so the dog can't help itself. Okay. So ask for the behaviour.
Ready? Go middle.
Good boy. Good. Okay, so we're going to make it slightly easier for him. So what you're going to do is put the ball. Let's put it on. Put it on the.
It's a bit late now.
Oh, good boy. Good. So I'll hold it for you. I'll help you that way. I'll hold it. Okay, and I'll drop it for you when he. So there. Offset him. Just lure him to where you want him to be.
This way. Come on. So I want to be there where the ball is. That's where I want to be.
Put
Hudson,
it back.
this way.
So just come again. Good. So that's it. Good. So make sure.
Ready? Good boy.
Good. That's okay because he's got my ball. Good. So great way to work through those challenges, Bonnie, in a safe environment.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's learning. This is all baby stuff. Ask for the position, then I'll throw it in.
Wait. Ready? Hudson, middle.
Yes. Get it.
Get it.
Good
Good
boy.
boy.
Super. Okay. Now let's go back and pop the ball out and see if you can do it.
Drop. Good boy. This way.
Good.
Good boy.
He's doing really good. We'll give him a break. It's getting hot.
This way. Wait.
Good. Pop it out. Good.
That's a bit of salmon head and wait.
Go a little bit closer to him so he's less. That's it. And help him if you need
Hudson,
to.
middle.
Release.
Get it.
Get it.
Good
Good.
boy.
Super. Okay. So we're going to teach him the next bit. We're going to jump the gun. We normally obviously break this down a bit more. So I want you to first have him in front of you, and I want you to just say to him middle and see if he'll find that position, and then reward him.
With the ball here.
Yeah.
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 Without doing that.
It doesn't. You can help him.
I'm trying to think if we do it really down. I don't know if I've got this perfect on go. Wait. Hudson, middle.
Good. And release. Get
Yes,
it.
get
Good. Super. Good. Okay. Good. Now what I want you to do is just put the ball to one side of your body, to the opposite side, and ask him to the middle. So now the toy's a bit of a distraction.
Okay.
So it's going to be on your your right hand side.
So I'm putting the toy on the floor.
Left hand side. Sorry.
Putting it on the floor.
Yeah, to that side. So you can block it. If he goes for it, you just put your foot over it. Okay.
Wait.
So middle.
Wait. Pay attention. Ready?
Good. Good.
Hudson, middle.
Come on, working for it. Help him.
Middle.
Stay on your ground. Don't move your feet. Don't
No,
lower.
no,
Don't
no,
just
no,
use your hand.
This
Good.
way, middle.
Release. Get it. Good.
boy.
Super. Okay.
Good
Good.
boy.
Good. Now I want you to bring the ball slightly in front of him, but so that you can still put. If he goes for it, you can still put your foot on it. Okay. So the idea now, he has to move away from the ball to come to you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So move it slightly forward.
So sort of here.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. So have the dog in front of you. Guide him in front of you.
Oh, he's supposed to be in front of me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So you pick a ball up. Lure him so he's facing you.
Sorry,
so this is now.
What you meant.
That's okay. So we're working on getting him to come past the ball to get the ball.
Got ya.
Okay, we're breaking it down
So
to
you sit
pieces.
there.
Good.
Wait.
Good. Perfect. Excellent, Bonnie.
Wait.
Good. Good.
Ready?
And help
This
him.
way. This way. attention. What are you going to do? We're going to go this way first. Ready?
That's okay. It's a struggle. Try help him. Teach him.
This way.
Almost block him with the ball. That's okay. So that's okay. Pick it up. Reset him.
This
It doesn't matter that he makes mistakes in this environment, buddy. That's what you want. You take if you just take it out of his mouth. Good. Lure him in front of you.
Yeah, boy. Come this way. See if I'm trying to do reverse
Yeah.
now.
So just take the balls, lure him with the other hand.
Let's
Switch.
go. Drop.
Good. Switch it for a tidbit.
Good
Good. Use your
boy.
food to guide him where you want him.
Ready?
Just guide him.
This way.
Come, baby. Good.
Good. You got it.
And-
There's a good boy. With me.
And sit.
He's like,
Good. His brain's hurting. Good. Give him a
Where
tidbit.
did the ball
Good.
go?
Just give him a sweetie. Good.
Good
Okay.
boy.
So put your ball out. Good. Okay.
Wait.
Now, good. Help him. If you need to, you can start with, use the food lure and then release him. Show him what you want.
Hudson, ready?
Middle.
Hudson, ready?
Good.
No, I can't look away from it.
Okay, so that's okay. So he's now, because he's challenged by the fact the ball is in his view, let's make it slightly easier for him. Okay, so I want you to just have it in your hand and then on the opposite side of your body and ask him to go do it that way. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, so just start there.
Hudson, ready? Middle. Okay, so reverse middle, but we'll take it.
Good. So that actually was him trying to cut the middleman. So make sure you're consistent with what
Okay.
you want him to do. You want him to go around the back, make sure you're black and white. Because actually he went, oh, it's easier to go this way. Yeah, we want him to listen to what you want him to do. Yeah, it's not a problem he's making mistakes. Okay, let's try again.
Yes.
Good, we're teaching,
Good
so this
boy.
is brilliant. Good.
Good boy.
So ask him to sit.
Good boy.
Good.
Hudson, middle.
Reward. Yes, good,
Good.
lovely.
Good boy.
Good.
That's
Good.
good.
That's good. Do that again.
Nice job. Ready? Good boy. This way.
Switch up the food. Good, excellent. Out to the side.
Ready? Middle.
Mark.
Yes.
Good.
Get it.
Nice.
boy.
Good. Oh, good boy. It's right with his foot. Good.
Yeah, have a little slip.
Good. And again.
That's okay. Yeah.
Good. Now you're going to just put it by your lower it a little bit by your foot. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Try now. Try now.
Hudson, middle.
Mark.
Yes. Get it.
Good boy. Good.
Boy. Good
Good
lad.
back.
This way.
Now try the harder one. We're putting it just by your left foot.
By my foot.
Yeah. And then we'll give him a break. See if we can get that one.
Tell his brain's going to get scrappy.
Yeah, that's
Ready?
okay. Good.
Good boy.
Good boy.
Nice job. Ready? This way. Sit. Wait.
Good.
Ready? Middle.
Help. Almost. Block. Good. Don't steer him. Don't let him make a decision. Help him a little bit with your hand. Just lure him.
Hudson. Hudson. Come away.
He says, I can't. So put your left foot on the ball. Good. That's it. Now wait. Now just show him again. Get your food out and lure him into the middle. Ask for the behaviour.
Hudson.
What's this?
Ready?
So just put your put your finger in his collar. Just help him. Put the other hand. Use your other hand. Guide him with the other hand. Lift him up.
Good boy.
So don't. That's it. Good. Show him.
Good
Good. Now guide him with your cross hand. Show him what you want.
Ready? Come on. Ready? Middle.
Good. Let go. Release.
Yes.
Get it. Good boy.
Good
So
boy.
far. Good boy. Let's do one more.
Good boy.
Do one more. Really good. Let's just try and get that bit. Okay? So if you really struggle, start with your lure. If you need to, just guide him with the collar. That's why you do all the work on collar grabs, just so that they don't see it as a punishment. You're just showing him. Good. Good. Use your ball. Good. You can use the ball as a lure, Bonnie, if you're struggling with focus with the... That's it. Good. And sit.
Ready? Sit.
Good.
Tie a hand and throw it then.
Good.
Good job,
Sweetie.
you're gentle, isn't it?
Good. Good.
Drop. Good.
Good. Okay. Put it there. Okay. Help him.
Ready? This way. Oh.
So pick your ball up. Good. Lure him back to the sit with the ball. Guide him. Good. Don't have it so low. He doesn't. To be fair, he doesn't need that much help. You're over helping him on that. Good. So ball goes on the floor.
Ready? This way.
That's it. Good. Block it with the foot.
Middle.
Good. Good. Okay. So I'm going to help you. Okay. So I want you to put the ball over here, and I'm going to help you a little bit. Okay. Ask him to sit. Guide him into the sit. Good.
Wait.
Ball here. Okay. Ask him to do it.
Hudson. Middle.
Release.
Yes. Good.
And again.
Good lad.
Okay, so now you're going to face the camera again, and I'm going to help you now a bit more. Okay? Good. So put him in front of you, guide him. Don't have it higher, have it higher.
This way.
And sit. Run the ball.
Hudson, come.
Just run the ball.
This way.
So when you do that, rather than, don't have it so, just use your hand gesture and guide him into it. Good boy. Yeah, so he doesn't need it as to entice him. So bring him forward.
This way,
Come. Good boy. And guide him.
Come in.
Sit.
I promise you he's not going to beat you up.
Good. Mind the things under his bum.
Ready?
Good. So hang on, just regroup for a second. Let's move that out of the way. Okay. Just break him off. Good. Get it. Good boy. Okay, walking forward.
Hudson, come.
Good. Okay.
Ready? This way.
Guide him and ask him to sit.
This way.
Good boy. Give him a sweetie. Good. Super. Good. Okay. Good. Good, sweetie. Good. Okay. Ball goes out. Okay. Ask for the behaviour.
Hudson.
I'll guard it. Don't worry.
Hudson. Middle.
Mark.
Yes. Get
Good
it.
boy.
Good
Super.
boy.
Well
Good
done.
boy.
That's really good. Okay. Repraise him. Good.
Go,
Good.
boy.
Repraise him. Don't take the ball off him. Let him have the ball.
It's so good.
Good, let him have it. Just let him possess it. Good boy. That's it. Good. Well done. Okay. Good. Well, we're going to stop there. That was good. Okay. So that was great because we've got some little struggles there, things that you can make better. So things to consider is what we want the dog to be able to do is the ball is out in front of him and we call him back and he returns away from the distraction. So we split that down into lots of pieces. We went, okay, can you do it with the ball on the floor? He went, oh no, that's too hard. That's a struggle. So we then, good boy. We then broke it down into having it in our hand. He found that a little bit, he got a bit easier. We had some varying degrees of success. And obviously we ended with it being out. I blocked it if he went for it and he went through. The eventual goal is you want to be able to have your reward out in front of you. The dog can be sent to get it. The dog's sent to get it and you recall them off into a middle position and then release them forward. So you really, all you're doing is strengthening up the dog's understanding of when there's a distraction in front of you, they have to listen to you, yeah? So a ball's going to be a great thing in your artillery with him, Burnley, because
he really, as you can see,
brings out the
he's
stuff.
the most focused on.
And the flip side is he's most focused on, which means that in situations where you've got other dogs, pull out your ball and just distract him past it, as opposed to your food. But the other entity of that is, it's a great thing to create the level of distraction to a degree that dogs are going to eventually create. Yeah, it's not as extreme because he doesn't get all worried and riled up. But if you can eventually if you can throw the ball out and send him the ball and then halfway towards it, call him back. If you can do that on a ball, you know you stand a good chance of doing it with the distraction, the person, etc. The other thing is, because what you've seen with him is he likes to possess the ball, which is very typical of the breed. So that also acts as his pacifier. So when he does have it, don't always be so intent on him taking it back off him. Because in situations where, you know, you see another dog, and hypothetically you don't have your muzzle, you've always got your ball, stick your ball in his mouth. Because he's more likely to go, okay, I'm going to take my frustration out. And you can then work on him being more comfortable with the ball being in his mouth. Does that make sense? And you can displace onto that as opposed to going, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That's exactly what I did with him over something hard with Dad took him Friday. I took this exact ball with me and we got past all sorts of dogs that you normally exploded at without any woofing at all.
Yeah, excellent.
You did, didn't
excellent. You? Yeah. Good. So just working on creating a better understanding of that behaviour, the sit behaviour, will help you gain confidence or have confidence when you take your dog out into different environments. If your dog is trained so thoroughly that it understands to sit no matter where it is, and despite the distraction, that's going to alleviate some of the tension. Parallel to that, then we can work on, as you saw the other day, Hudson developing his social skills around other dogs so that he doesn't feel threatened or worried by them and therefore react inappropriately. So the two things in conjunction with each other, creating a better understanding of core behaviours, and confidence around other dogs, hopefully will ultimately lead to a dog that will be confident enough in situations where other dogs are present, but also if a situation arises where there's an unsolicited dog or an unexpected dog, you're going to be able to get control over him. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
Yeah, really good. All right, let's see if there's any questions on any of the stuff that we've done with Hudson. Such a good boy. And the other thing which is great is, because he's playing around me with the ball, he's also getting comfortable with me being in his environment and not being worried about, let me just find, about the, hang on, long route.
Play definitely gives him a better emotional response to the food, doesn't it?
Definitely,
I don't think food makes him feel that good.
it's more. It's not enough for him.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
He doesn't have enough of the value for him.
It's not.
That's evident by the fact that most of the time, although he'll drop anything I ask him for food, he very rarely eats the food I've asked him to drop it for.
So a couple of things to be aware of is one. Oh, miss lean up on this is make sure that you're consistent with the use of your cues. So a couple of times when you were describing, you went, oh, should I do a down or should I do a sit? Well, we need to create the clarity. If I had one of my dogs here, I wouldn't ever say their cue in their presence and not expect them to respond. Does that make sense? Because what then happens is we bake into them, just adjust this slightly, we teach our dogs that it's the certain tone that they have to respond to, and normally it's that panicked, high-pitched shriek, "Oh, sick!" And that often, what can happen, especially with a recall cue, is it can become a conditioned cue to mean, oh, there's a dog coming. So what we want is our dogs to really understand, no matter how, when and where I say that cue, sit down or stand, they have to respond instantaneously, because that cue has been conditioned to make them, has been conditioned to make them feel good, and also has been paired with a lot of reinforcement. So if we are flippant somewhat and we say it, we then desensitise them to the power of that cue. Does that make sense to you?
Our other dog has a, I will spell it, a TURN cue, which we always spell because she's so on point. And we never ever say it, do we? We always spell it,
okay. Vicky said, lovely work from both. You can't believe the squeak has survived the whole session. He's not his mother's son. He's adopted. So let's have a quick.
Tell her about your socks though. First thing you did when you came Wednesday was find socks, wasn't it?
I did,
That's Indy.
Oh, it's Vicky's fault.
Indy's a sock. He stole Mel's girlfriend's socks on Wednesday.
It was my daughter's sock.
Oh, sorry, daughter's sock.
Even worse. So just to see if there's any questions before we draw things to a close about that session. So that session's probably lasted about half an hour, which is ample time. To be fair, I probably would have chopped that down into smaller sessions. He's a baby. Less is more, little tiny sessions. So often what people say is, where do I get the time to train my dogs? Interweave it into your day. You know this one. You know, this is teaching
kettle training.
Yeah, absolutely, kettle training. Put the kettle on, train your dog for 5 minutes. Put your training items, and I tend to buy them everything in duplicate. So I'll have 2 of the 3 of the same toy, 2 or 3 of the same bits of equipment. So that way I can leave them in various places. So I don't have to then, when I'm pressed for time, I can train efficiently. I've got props out in the garden. I've got props in here. I've got props in my vehicle. So or training tools or whatever I'm working with. So that means I can pick up my dog, train my dog anywhere I need to, and they don't get. I'm not wasting time effectively, you know. Especially when you're on the go constantly. Anybody got any questions about anything that we've done with Hudson? Working on creating a better understanding of the sit via improving his understanding of the verbal cue, and also improving his understanding of working against the distraction on both the sit and also his recall. So in this session, we used the middle cue to get him to come away from the distraction. If you don't have the middle, you can use a hand touch. You can just use a collar grab where the dog comes to you. So my preference for my dogs is I teach them to return to me on the collar grab, and then they give me a collar grab, or allow me to grab their collar. I can call them off a distraction to a hand target. I can call them off a distraction to a middle. I can call them off a distraction to a sit or a down, etc. So it doesn't really matter which behaviour you have when the dog returns, as long as it's clear to the dog. That's the one that equates to the reward. So hand target means you get the thing. When I call you off the thing to do a hand target, you can get access to the thing. Now, in reality, you're not going to obviously let your dog necessarily rush up to another dog, but what you're duplicating or replicating is the premise of, here's a distraction, listen to me despite the distraction. All right? Okay, I don't think there's any questions. Let's just make sure. If anybody's got any questions. Okay, I think that was good. So obviously, if you have any questions about what we've done with Hudson, please feel free to ask if you're picking this up retrospectively. When you work with a reactive dog, you've got to look at the relationship you have with them holistically, and try and, by process of elimination, work on the things of the dog that could be a problematic area. So first and foremost, we know obviously Hudson's background. He's not a rescue dog, etc. He's got good genetics. He's got been reared beautifully. Bonnie's done a great job with starting his foundations off. Obviously, he's still a baby, but there's things that we can still improve with him. For example, his understanding of those verbal cues, his ability to think through a heightened state of arousal, which is going to help Bonnie when she's out in the real world, working through his reactivity issues. And you can see even now, so when you go back to our initial conversation with him, he was very aware of me being around. Now he goes, oh, he's associating me with fun things happening in my presence. Because what we don't want is him to just only be exposed to me when we have other dogs, because that's going to make him think that I'm the cause of the bad thing. But if we also parallel to that, we teach him that me being in his presence, good things happen to him. So he's feeling good and he's feeling positive, or he's feeling happy or joyous in this environment because he's been played with. And I've not encroached on him. A couple of times I obviously got to touch him. He's still not super comfortable with that, but that will build on that. But if the end goal is that he goes, okay, I don't see Kamal, I don't interact with Kamal because my ball's here, that's great.
Yeah, neutrality is really has been my goal from a puppy. That's
absolutely. Yeah. And the fact that he's so into his ball, you've got such a powerful tool there. And I think the thing to say about the ball is, a toy is, as we talked about yesterday, is such a misused reinforcement, because to be truthful, a lot of people don't understand the nuances of how to do it effectively. And it is a real skillful thing to be able to reward your dog and use it and not get bitten and etc. And that requires a lot of mechanical skills. Now, a ball is challenging because it's more unpredictable where it goes, but you can, as obviously his body's got one tied on the string. A lot of dogs get really wise to that, and they get wise to that because, well, it doesn't have the same amount of values, because what normally happens when you have a ball without a rope is they get hold of it. So they have possession more of it, or for longer, so therefore they build more value for it. So the key with the ball and the string is to allow them to possess it tiny times, let them win, especially for a dog like a German Shepherd. But simultaneously, you definitely want to work your release for that, because otherwise you'll have a power struggle.
Yeah.
And obviously also using the ball in situations where you see another dog, you're caught off guard, pull your ball out and distract him past it, and then worry about building his confidence up around dogs parallel. All right? Okay. All right. Thank you everybody that watched, and obviously hopefully it's been insightful. You can see the progression in that session and how we broke it down. Moving forward, the intention will be obviously Bonnie's local, so we've got follow-up sessions where we're going to book spaces where we can attend, and he can continue his confidence building around my other dogs. I think the game plan is to change location, isn't it, at some point? So that will be on our horizon. Moving forward, as I've always said to Bonnie, Hudson's entering that adolescent phase of his development. His behaviour is going to become challenging, irrespective of who, what, where, and how.
That was always on the cards.
Yeah, exactly.
We was always prepared for that, weren't we?
Exactly. So that phase is not something to be again beat yourself up with a big stick and think, how have I failed my dog, because it wouldn't matter. Exactly, they're teenagers. Yeah.
In the room playing heavy metal music and smoking out the window.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing to say in that is, his behaviour will probably get more challenging before it plateaus off. Yeah. But the key thing is obviously, be part of a community where people are going to support you. Get your villagers, people that aren't going to that allow you to sort of lean on them and to cry on their shoulder when appropriate, or celebrate those little wins that you're going to get, and just persevere, because that's what relationships with own dogs is about. All right, good. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to showing lots and lots of different stuff on reactivity in the upcoming weeks. And obviously, if you have any questions about reactivity and reactivity challenges, post them on the group and I will pick them up. All right, see you later.
Good boy.